psychology is about cognitive and language. Alright, so I'm going to start with this. So, the meaning of cognitive psychology is like you think with reasons and you solve the problems with creativities. So, the real meanings of cognitive psychology is it's involving a mental process, and it's a form of manipulations of mental representations of information, which means like you use the information to think. So there are several words that you need to understand, and the first one is mental image. When it's about mental image, you are thinking of something to scan. So for example, when you see this pen, what will you think? Oh, it's a pen because of the features, because of the functions, because of the abilities, and you will start to categorize. Oh, this is a stationery. So stationery means concept. Concept is the grouping of this mental image. So I group this pen in stationaries, and stationaries actually could be defined as prototypes too, because prototypes is a represent examples of the concept. So the example of stationery is a pen, so this pen is a prototype. And then we're moving on to the reason. Reason is you need to make decisions with your mind, conscious mind, with conclusions. So for reason, we have a lot of type of reason, but one of the type of reason we call as syllogistic reasoning, which means that it's only accurate when you have premise and validities of logic apply, which means that we already learned it in Form 4 mathematics KSSM, which means that, for example, like this: Dr. L is a lecturer. All the lecturers have the title of doctors. Therefore, what? Something like that. You will be okay. Let me give you another example. Like, orange color for a cat, and then cat have orange fur. Therefore, all the orange cat is cat. Something like that. It's hard to explain, but something like that. Yeah. So and then we move it to algorithms and heuristic. For the algorithm is something like rules. So like this. Okay, you solve this using the this formula. We call it an algorithm. But when you solve it, you don't know the formula. You just try and error. It's called heuristic. And then move on to the next part, which is problem solving. Problem solving have 3 steps. Preparation, which you need to understand the problems. Production, you give a lot of solutions. And lastly, judgment, you choose the best solutions. And among of this problem, we have 2 generalized problem we call as well-defined and ill-defined. Well-defined is the problems they give with clear and straightforward, like this. They give the formula. But for ill-defined, it will not clear and it's very hard to guess how to solve the problem. So it can be seen like the problem of the French mathematic questions of ship. They give the number of passengers on in the ship and the ship kilograms, but suddenly they want the age of the navy captain. Suddenly, like that. So in these questions, you need to have a lot of knowledge, prior knowledge, and you need to have accessibility to think outside the box. And then we have kinds of problems. Out of this, we have a lot of problems, but this is the 3 problems that we focus on. The first one is arrangement problems, which we combine all the elements, which means you connect the dots. For example, like puzzle, you connect and then you got the whole pictures. And for second is problems of inducing the structures, which means that you already combine the relationship elements. You just identify. So for example, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How do it form like this? So assume that 1 is n. No, n plus 1 is 2, and 2 is n, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 is n, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So therefore, it can be defined as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with the formulas of n plus 1. So this can be used in algorithm, and algorithm can be used in this. And lastly, we have transformation problem, which like Tower of Hanoi. This is a merge combination of both of these, which means like the Tower of Hanoi is like you have like this A, B, C types of long, and then you need to put in two straight. You got C, B, A, and lastly you got A, B, C. So lastly you got the same question. So this process is called transformation because they transfer the object, and lastly they got it back. It's called therefore it's called transformations of these problems. And normally this type of structures were used in mathematics a lot because okay, I give another example like this. A, B, okay, minus C. So you want to find C. You put this A equal to negative C. Okay, and then this, okay, negative A, negative B, C, and C also can be negative B, negative A, something like that. I'll just ignore if it was wrong. Okay, and then after that we have these problems. So all of these problems, they will give you lots of problems, but the way you solve it have a lot of type. You can solve it using graph, you can solve it using the diagrams, you can solve it using this tree graph or whatever solution in there, even in illustrations. And also the conclusion of all of this is they want to define like no matter what your decision is, your result is the same because the problem is in frame. And not only that, we also have a lot of outcome. You can see this how the solution types of solutions. So one of the type of solutions could be an analysis, which means you repeat again to see the outcome. But this will ruin a lot of time. And then the next one is solutions backward, which means that instead of reading the book from first to last page, you can read from last page to the first page, which is reverse. This will be much better, and it was created by this scholar. And then we have a lot of notes in here, but I'm going to simplify it. What does it mean? Like, it's all about like how we judge some things and how do we stay with problems, with creativities, and the way we think. We have two types of way to think. One is we think in very abstract. You don't understand what the person thinking. So for example, this type of thinking, divergent thinking, is mostly used in creating abstract art, and convergent thinking is logical based. One is not logical and the other one is logical. Okay, normally IQ tests in the traditional way, they will use this logical base. But the problem in this is it's limited, too limited. But with this, it's very broad. You can do anything. So we already know the solutions on and way of the solutions, and therefore we have types of how do we solve the problems. But this is how we solve the problems. We can use subgo, adapt critical perspective, carries the opposite, which means that you have a questions of giving the impacts of contextual clues. They want positive impact, for example, where you don't know. Instead, you can give the bad side of it. So when you compare the bad side, you will automatically understand the good side. Reverse it. And then use analogies, which means you use the facts, statistic to understand it more. Meaning the analogies you need to read a lot of book. And lastly, think divergently, which is logical. You still need to think, divergently. And then we move to have a language. Why language is important? Because you need to understand the concept. That's all. Thank you.